Come on.
Get over here. Stop.
You're killing me. Oh, that's not recording, is it?
And don't get in the back.
Good morning, and thanks for all for being here. I am Chairman Blackman of the Government Committee in the Arizona House of Representatives, and I want to begin by recognizing the Speaker of the House. He is not here, he will be here if he can shortly. I also want to recognize the members of the Arizona House and Senate who will be here today, and I want to let you know that their presence does not underscore their commitment to this. Today we gather here for one reason, and that is for Arizona children. Pediatric cancer remains the leading cause of death by diseases among children in the United States. Here in Arizona, hundreds of families each year hear the words no parent should ever need to hear: your child has cancer. Pediatric cancer remains the leading cause of death among children in the United States. Behind every statistic is a child's dream, a family's fight for hope, and a community that stands together with strength. This issue transcends party lines. It goes past ideology, and it demands unity in the state as well as the country. I want to recognize the extraordinary leadership and the medical professionalism of who stand on the front lines for this fight every single day. Please join me in recognizing Laura Robertson, Chief Executive Officer of Banner Desert Medical Center, Banner Children's at the Desert, and Banner Medical Center. Laura, your leadership ensures that Arizona families have access to the world's first-class pediatric care, to the physicians, the nurses, the specialists, the researchers across your facilities provide not only the cutting edge of treatment, but the compassion in moments when it is needed most. We also want to recognize Dr. Torkildson for his and his staff's dedicated work in this area. Also, more importantly, want to acknowledge the families, not just here at the Capitol lawn, but across the state and the country. We stand behind families and children like Robert Akins, my nephew, who has suffered and battled cancer for most of his young life. We recognize his parents, Shelley and Mike Akins, who have stood with him through trial and through financial issues because of this. We recognize Pam Tenney, who stepped in as a grandmother and showing that you don't have to have blood to be family, but only the heart to care. We also recognize the many children that are battling this. Childhood cancers are different than adult cancers. Pediatric care research continues to receive only a small fraction of the overall research here in Arizona. Many treatments that are used today were developed decades ago, and they were for adults rather than children. As a legislative body, we must do different, and we must do better. That means as a member of this caucus and of this body, we need to prioritize our efforts in this fight. That means that when we are conducting legislation or voting on issues that pertain to this, that it is important that as lawmakers, our priorities are much more than balancing a budget are ensuring that we are voting along party lines. As I said before, childhood cancer has no political demographic. When a child is diagnosed with this disease, it is everyone's responsibility in this state who has a position of authority to be able to step up and take that call to action. And that call to action is making sure that our children that are going to be the leaders of tomorrow have the ability, the tools, and resources that they need to fight this devastating disease. As I stand here before you today, this is not about the leaders at this moment. It is about the families that stand behind me. It is about their struggle. It is about their needs. It's about what we need to do as leaders. I have with me one of the leaders of Payson, Arizona, where his constituents and his children and his community are at the same risk. And I thank you for being here, sir. Please give him a hand. Thank you. As chairman of the government committee, I want to introduce a bold initiative for next year's session to bring forth legislation that will not only fund at the appropriate levels this devastating disease, but to ensure that each and every member stands behind this bold initiative to ensure that we have the funding and we have the support that we need to combat this. With that, we have a few people that are going to be speaking today. And after that, I will stand for questions. And Christy, I want to thank my wife, who stands in the background, and she helps put these things together. I want to thank the Alcantars, who have fought this fight on the front lines as well. So, the order of battle. Thought I was in the military again, huh? Okay, so what we are going to do is I am going to bring some folks up. You have that. Okay, I'm going to bring some folks up. They're going to give opening statements, and then after that, I'll come back up for questions. Okay? Okay. Sir? Oh, Mr. Alcantar.
No, or not Alcantar, Jensen.
Sorry.
Mr. Jensen.
Jensen.
The Proclamation.
He's reading the proclamation
Please.
from last year.
Good morning. The Aaliyah, Jensen, and Axel, Alcantar Pediatric Cancer Awareness Proclamation. Whereas pediatric cancer remains the leading cause of death by disease for children in the United States, with more than 47 children diagnosed per day, or 290 children and adolescents diagnosed with cancer every week, yet only receives less than 4% of government allocated cancer research funds. And globally, an estimated 429,000 children under the age of 19 will develop cancer every year, where only 37.4% of those children will survive 5 years, highlighting the urgent need for improved treatment worldwide. And advancement in medical research and treatment have helped increase overall childhood cancer survival rates from 20% to more than 80% over the past several decades. And diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, which took the life of 5-year-old Aaliyah Catherine Jensen, remains underfunded and under-researched, with 150 to 300 new cases per year and less than 1% of patients living 5 years. And alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, which took the life of 5-year-old Axel Alcantar, remains underfunded and under-researched, with less than 400 new cases being diagnosed every year and less than 30% of high-risk cases surviving to the 5-year mark. And standard of care treatment plans for pediatric cancers have not changed for many cancers. Specifically for DIPG, the standard has not been updated in over 60 years. and alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, there have been no significant improvements in clinical outcomes since the 1980s. And on this day, we are encouraging all Arizonans and the Arizona government to participate in community events and support organizations dedicated to pediatric cancer research and patient care, helping raise awareness and promote life-saving advancements. And therefore, we, Representatives Walt Blackman and Dave Marshall, do hereby proclaim February 18th, 2025 as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Day in the state of Arizona, and call upon all Arizonans to join in recognizing the courageous children and families affected by pediatric cancer, and to support efforts to improve treatment options and advancements by supporting pediatric cancer bills, organizations, and research. We have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of the state of Arizona to be affixed the 18th day of February, 2025.
Good morning. 15 to 16,000 children a year will be diagnosed with cancer in America. That's 41 to 43 children a day. Worldwide, over 400,000 children will be diagnosed this year. An estimated 13.7 million kids will be diagnosed between 2020 and 2050. I used to be one of those moms that would have had sympathy, but always thought it could never happen to me. Until September 2nd, 2022, when my whole world would come crashing down. Aaliyah, my beautiful, perfect, funny, amazing daughter, was diagnosed with DIPG, an incurable, essentially untreatable brain tumor in the brainstem. Over the course of 3 months, she doubled her weight because of the harsh side effects of steroids. Within 2 months of diagnosis, she lost her ability to smile, her perfectly symmetrical smile, as she began to have left-sided paralysis. Radiation was the only treatment option, which caused multiple brain bleeds and only bought us a few good months. Within 6 months, her cancer had spread down her spinal cord. A second round of radiation took away her ability to speak clearly, walk, play, eat and drink without aspirating, and eventually took away her ability to breathe. I'm telling you this because we were given nothing. We were told to go home and make memories. We might have 9 months with her, but she suffered and survived 13 months with DIPG. As a parent, we survived her diagnosis, but every day we pleaded that it would be us instead of her. Once your child dies, especially in such a terrible and tragic way, regret is the only thing that sticks with you. What could have been done? What did we do wrong? And what could we have done better? In reality, there's nothing I could have done differently as her mom, but there is something that as a community we can do better. Our government only gives 4% of the $7+ billion budget to childhood cancer research. When doing the math, that's only $3 per child. $3 per child does not make a difference. In comparison to that $7 billion cancer budget, the United States government will give NASA $24 to $27 billion in 2026. $7 billion to cancer in general, and $27 billion to NASA. The cure for our cancer is not in space. Prioritizing our children and finding a cure is what actually will make a difference here. On October 23rd, 2022, as my daughter lay dying, I had a feeling over and over that I needed to tell her that I would continue her fight. For hours I had this feeling, and I could not bring myself to say it. I didn't want to make a promise that I was not going to be able to keep. For hours she fought, and finally, minutes before she passed away, I promised Aaliyah that I would continue fighting for her and all the kids like her. And then I told her to send us rainbows every chance she could. Seconds later, a beautiful, vivid, double rainbow appeared and my baby was gone. She kept her promise, and now I'm here to do the same. As Americans and Arizonans, we can stand up, be loud, make donations, and find a cure. That way children like Aaliyah and Axel have a fighting chance and a future. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marcos Alcantar, the father of Axel Alcantar. This is Maverick, his brother, and Heather, his mother. And, you know, I'd like to agree with Representative Waltman about how people say, you know, you never want to hear the words from the doctor, your child has cancer, but I don't think ours came like that. It was, your son is diagnosed with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, which now meant go look up at Google of what I really just said. So it's not always that simple. And getting the word out to people to know what is going on exactly and how things are being diagnosed is a step that we encourage everyone to be proactive and understanding what it is that these children are going through. DIPG, alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma, all of these cancers, they all are very, very different. We have two paths here, three actually with Robert. Robert has fought his battle through his cancer, his diagnosis. Aaliyah had one where it kind of overtook her body right away and had some terrible side effects with it. Axel, we were fortunate to wrestle, hang out, play until pretty much the last moment that his body just was overconsumed with the progression of this disease. And that's what we want people to know about this proclamation today, is to understand and become aware of what cancer looks like. It can come in the form of a healthy little bald kid running around, or before he was diagnosed, playing baseball. Like Aaliyah, she was very active as well, has a loving family. Things happen and they turn around very quickly. From the second he was diagnosed to his first treatment, it was 5 days. We took him in on a Saturday. On a Monday, he was diagnosed with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma. Monday, Tuesday. By Friday, he had already had a port put in, and his first round of chemo. Things move very quickly, but that is very reactive compared to what we can do by becoming aware of what the situation calls for, and that is being proactive and having the resources available. Axel was doing extremely well for the majority of his treatment. And we had said many times, if it wasn't for his bald little head, you would never know he had cancer. After treatments, we were running and playing at Lily's Pad, doing activities with all the different cancer groups out there, the pediatric groups out there. And up until the very end, when he couldn't run anymore, you would never have noticed that he had cancer. And we had that compliment many, many times. However, the second that he had a relapse, all trials went away. And it seemed and it appeared to us that no matter where we turned, the only trials that were available were for healthy cancer children. Now that doesn't really make sense. But until you're told, no, your child does not qualify for this trial because of a relapse, you don't understand that there is no such thing as a healthy cancer individual, a pediatric. But yet that's what they were looking for. They didn't want somebody who had relapsed. They wanted somebody with certain markers, certain this. I understand that, but there has to be more done for all children of pediatric cancer. And given that opportunity for individuals to have that opportunity to get the treatment that they seek, or that second or third or fourth opportunity to continue to fight that fight. There's two paths. There's the path, like we said, that an individual can overcome, and after that, you have difficulties in that as well. The fight doesn't end. I did see something, because you'll see memes and everything else out there, where just because my hair grew back doesn't mean the cancer's gone. There's children out there that have their hair, that are going to school, that are playing sports, that are still fighting, whether it's cancer burns, whether it's radiation, whether it's the second onset of a different cancer. They are still fighting the battle along with their family and their friends that were there, and their loved ones and their support groups. And then there's the others where we have to pick ourselves up, go to work, go to school, and continue living as if that individual were still in this world. And the only thing we have are our memories, our slogans, our nonprofits, and the work that we promised our loved ones that we would do before they passed away. And those two paths need more awareness. We need to get off of this lawn right here and take it to the streets. There needs to be awareness in all the hospitals, the different groups that we work with. We need to come together, and we urge everyone, like I said last year, to understand that the children that are fighting this are not on their own. The children who have overcome their battle are not alone. And the children who don't even know that they're going to fight this are not alone either. And that's what our promise is today, is to go ahead and to continue fighting. And we thank everyone for being here. We appreciate the staff who take the immense amount of time that it takes to understand between families' feelings, explain to a mother and a father, brother or sister. There's a lot of people that come along with that to help everyone understand what's going on, to the ones who are actually administering the dosages and taking the blood work and sitting down every time. We recognize the sacrifice that they make and the pressure that they're under when it's not the easiest thing to say. You could always tell when the doctors came and it wasn't good news. They didn't really want to come in. They usually had their laptops, and it just wasn't the greatest feeling for anyone, and yet they delivered the news and they had to continue going to the next one. I know many times it was great for Axel to be in the room and be that one person to have that great attitude and that great news, because the next room right next to us, we knew it was a completely different story. And so we encourage everyone to continue to be active, show up to these events, show up to many other events around the community, and give support, and give any physician or anyone that's involved in the pediatric cancer community, support them in any way possible. And we appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you very much. And who's it? Go ahead. No. You gonna go, Ben? All right. Is it Dr. Torkildson now?
No, it's
Shelley. All right. Well.